7, 3, 6, 7, 3, 6, 7, 3, 6. Hello YouTubers, welcome to today's tutorial where we continue to fulfill our goal, which is to make you improve every day in your piano journey. Today our tutorial is breaking down the key of A major. Remember, in this beginners series, we've been trying to break down all the 12 keys of the piano keyboard. And today we are breaking down the key of the A major. I'll start by spelling out the A major scale. A is number 1, B is number 2, C sharp number 3, D number 4, E number 5, F sharp number 6, G sharp number 7, and we are back to number 1. So we have the scale. As it has always been our norm in this series, whenever you're learning a new key, the first thing you've got to do is to master the scale so that you know the numbers, so that later when you form the chords, you know which chord is formed in which particular scale degrees. So practice each hand. The first hand, we just do one octave. Then once you are comfortable with each under piece, you can try doing both hands, where you now combine them. The advice is that you start this process slowly if you're a beginner, and especially if this is the first key you are learning on a keyboard, then you've got even to be more slow. By practicing the scales, you are strengthening the fingers. You are also improving your technique, and at the same time trying to know each scale degree of this particular major. Once you've done the scales, then the next step, we try to look at the diatonic chords of the A major scale. And chord number 1 is A major. Remember, a chord built from the first scale degree is always a major, and I'll go with that fingering, but sometimes you can even use this. Then chord number 2 is B minor. Chord number 3, C sharp minor. Chord number 4 is D major. Chord number 5, E major. Chord number 6, F sharp minor. Chord number 7 is G sharp diminished. And finally, we're back to chord number 1. So you're going to form those chords in your right hand if you are right-handed. Then you also try doing the same in your left hand. So we have our chord number 1 here, chord number 2, we have chord number 3, number 4, number 5, which is E major, number 6, number 7, and back to number 1. So at the initial stages when you are learning this key, take your time, however long it might take you, so that you go through this, each hand a piece, just like you did with the scales. Then you do the diatonic chords with both hands. Once you've done the diatonic chords, and this should actually be done when you're starting, you start it just as a slow pace. You can see I'm trying to slow down the pace so that you, my viewer, can see it clearly, these diatonic chords. Then number 2 and back to number 1. So let's do that. And once you are comfortable with both, I would want you also still on the root positions of these chords. Now, instead of doing the chords with both hands, the right hand will do the chord and the left hand will do the perfect fifth. I want you to see that this is not number 1, this is the first scale degree, this is the 5th scale degree, which is E. So when you hold chord A here, you have the left hand playing the perfect 5th. Then chord number 2, you do the same, the left hand playing the perfect 5th. Chord number 3. So we've got to practice this also. You just practice this slowly. Then you can try going back. Just go back slowly. Because when you will be playing, you'll notice that the left hand in most cases will be playing the perfect fifth. So on top of playing both the chords in both hands to develop the technique in your left hand, I would want you to try to use of course, the perfect fifth on the left. This will straight away enable you, when you start playing, you'll realize that the left hand is just automatic. Sorry, it is just automatic going into the chord that you want it to go, and you don't have problem that even having another time to practice the perfect fifth of this particular chord. So it will just be automatic. So I want you to do that. Once you've done that, the next thing that I have to show you in this series, as I've always done here, because it will be worthless for me to teach you about the root positions of the chords, and maybe this is the first scale you are learning in your piano journey, and then I fail to tell you about the chord inversions, because there is always magic when you use the chord inversions in playing your music. The hand are enclosed, no much movement, and you are free to do your improvisation and a lot of stuff because the fingers are just closed. And it also limits the possibilities of making mistakes as you play. So I've already done a video on chord inversions in this channel, so if you are not yet conversant with the chord inversions, you can check that. So the first inversion will be this, and I'd even done the correct fingering when I was teaching in my video titled How to Practice Chord Inversions. You'll notice the fingers change. That is first inversion, and then this is the second inversion. We go back to the root. So you are going to learn to invert these chords also. Sorry, this is our chord number 2, the B minor. Then we have the second inversion of this chord here. And if you continue inverting, we go back to the root. So that is chord number 2. Then we have chord number 3 here. This is C sharp minor now. And when we invert it, this is what we get. And then when we invert it again for the second inversion, we get this. And we are back to the root. Then chord number 4 is D. And when we invert chord number D, these are the inversions. I've already explained about chord inversions in the previous tutorials. But if at all I'm moving faster, you can also slow down this video. Chord number 5 is E. This is the root position. Then we go to the first inversion of this chord. Then the second inversion. When we invert it, we are back to the root position. Chord number 6, we now have the F sharp minor. And this is the root position. This is the first inversion of this chord. And this is the second inversion. And we are back to the root. Then at number 7, we have this diminished chord. This is the root position. This is the first inversion. And this is the second inversion. But at this diminished, sometimes I prefer, because the chord is very symmetrical, I prefer just doing the diminished 7. There is nothing wrong if you also try this. This is not asking so much from you when you're just beginning to play. So you can try that. And then we are back to number 1, which is our A major. So that is our diatonic chords. So I would want you to practice them, first of all in the right hand, and then secondly, you try to now combine those chord inversions when your left hand is striking the perfect fifths. Remember here, we try to take time to go through the finer details so that if you like using this channel to learn, you'll find it very worthy and helping you to learn your piano. If at all you're finding value in this tutorial, my viewer, I would urge you to like this tutorial, share it, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscription button so that this channel can grow to enable me continue giving you more free tutorials like this. Now, you remember at the beginning of this tutorial, I was actually enjoying myself. I was talking the 7, 3, 6. Now, if you look at this, that's why I said somewhere that it is very important to learn the inversions. 7. And then I was having 3. Then I was having my 6 here. If you look at what I'm doing here, the 7, I'm playing just the minor 7. That is the 7th chord. I'm actually playing the G sharp minor, but I'm adding the 7th in the second inversion. And then For my chord number 3, remember 3 in this scale is in the scale of A is C sharp. So I was playing the C sharp dominant 7, and then I was playing the minor, because number 6 is always a minor, so I was doing this. And if you look at this is just the F sharp minor I've just talked about, but I'm adding the 7th. So I have my 7, that is the 7 minor 7. That is the voicing I prefer, and I normally use this a lot when I play. Then 3, I use the 3 dominant 7, that is C sharp dominant 7, and then I use the 6 minor 7. And that is what you saw at the intro of this video as 7, 3, and then I was having 6. My viewer, that brings us to the end of this tutorial today, where we're breaking down the scale of A major. This is a very nice scale, nice sounding, and most songs are done in this particular key. So I want you to practice the chords, so that later on when we start doing the chord progression and playing the songs, you'll be in a position to play in virtually all the keys, if at all you've been following these tutorials and practicing. So practice along. Nice practice. Bye bye. See you in the next tutorial.